Yesterday's session was confusing to say the least. I was expecting it to be really poor in terms of my performance and execution of the exercises because I was running on a time schedule, like a tight time schedule, to be honest. So I supersetted the main lifts, the split squats and the single leg Romanian deadlifts. So it's the last week of the training cycle, or the month long. I think it's called a meso cycle, which means that the reps will be at the lowest for the main lifts, the weight will be at its highest before I then have a little refresh and go back to higher reps with lower weight but slightly higher than the previous month. So just to give you an example, at the start of this training cycle, I was doing 6 reps on the split squats with 35 kilos, and I'm going to go back to 6 reps now after this session. Well, next week I'm going to go back to 6 reps with 37.5, and then it'll start again. The week after that will be 1 less rep with 2.5 kilos added onto the bar. So today's main lifts were split squats and single leg Romanian deadlifts with 42.5 kilos. In a month's time, for 3 reps of each per leg. So there's another reason why I supersetted. I thought that I could, get away with it because it was only 3 reps per leg per exercise. And yeah, it felt okay, to be honest. So in a month's time, the next time I do 3 reps, it'll be 45 kilos. So 2.5 kilos more than today. So I think I'm going to stick with the same exercises, the same schedule for the next 4 weeks. Just another training cycle on top of this one, just to kind of consolidate the work that I've done. And then the cycle will change. New exercises will be added. Some exercises may be removed or modified. And it's because this training cycle is basically just to build the base of getting used to training again, getting used to the exercises. And yeah, I was moving pretty well, to be honest. Even the split squats, if you compare it with some of the earlier training videos that I uploaded, I'm getting more comfortable again at the bottom. The range of motion is certainly better. There are a lot of sets in the previous training vlogs where I didn't even get close to completing full range on the split squats. It just wasn't comfortable at the bottom for the most part. But I've basically solved that. Mobility work is working. It is helping, but it's still a long way to go. My anterior pelvic tilt is still visible, but it's feeling better. I don't feel like there's as much of a lordosis in my back. I don't feel like my lower back is as arched, but that's just a minor thing. Visually, I still have some way to go before it doesn't look like I have a exaggerated anterior pelvic tilt. So you can see me cleaning the bar up there to my shoulders. The hang clean as an exercise itself will come back into the program at some stage. Definitely a target, a really good lift. You can see the anterior pelvic tilt now, just really struggling to maintain a neutral pelvis in the split squat. But I like the hang clean as an exercise. Really good for power development, and luckily I had been taught how to execute the exercise reasonably well. For most new athletes, if I was to write a program for someone and they didn't have any idea how to do cleans, then I probably wouldn't teach them, because there are a lot of exercises that you get basically the same results or the same training stimulus, exercises that are much easier to execute. So yeah, I probably wouldn't teach it to others unless they really, really, really wanted to learn, or if it was, if it had some other form of specificity. But also with the main working sets, I changed the camera angle for each of the sets just to see if I could spot any, technical deficiencies, and it felt okay. And apart from the anterior pelvic tilt, there was nothing really alarming going on, I felt. Maybe the balance on the single leg Romanian deadlifts, as you see me just readjusting my feet a little bit there. that's definitely something I might have to do some more work on, just some isolated balance work, which I suppose when you haven't done this sort of thing in a while, it's natural that you might lose a little bit of your specific balance skills in that situation, but I'm sure it'll come back. Yeah, and I think after the next training cycle of 4 weeks, after that, it might be when I start adding in slowly some upper body exercises. But it depends on how well I'm progressing with the lower body stuff, how sore I am, how much time I have. The upper body section of the program is not a priority for me at this stage, especially since I'm trying to specifically target the lower half of the body to make sure that my center of mass gets slightly lower as I put on muscle in those areas. So that's a priority for me at this stage. Might toy with the upper body soon, but it's not high on the list of priorities. But the good thing is that because now I've settled in, it's been at least 4 weeks now, I think, in this consistent schedule, finally starting to get comfortable with these movements, starting to execute them better. Even the Nordics, as you'll see in a minute, getting much better. Not every single rep. The thing is with the Nordics is because it's a pretty intense exercise, you tend to use a lot of your effort, a lot of your energy on the first rep, and that always tends to be the rep that you perform with the best, the highest quality. And the thing is with the Nordics is because it's a very fatiguing exercise as well, it's very hard to maintain the quality of your execution throughout the set. So as you can see here, I did pretty well to resist most of the way down, but the second rep I thought, okay, I've thrown myself too far forward, my hamstrings aren't ready to give me that much braking force. But eventually I would like to get to the point where I can throw myself forward and my hamstrings will be strong enough to give me some form of braking force and I can catch myself in the middle of the rep, which is what a lot of elite athletes do when they get to that level. And the reverse Nordics felt good as well, to be honest. Getting more depth than I usually do. And the plate underneath my knees definitely, I think, makes a difference with the angle of the knee for the starting position. So more so for the regular Nordics than the reverse Nordics. And I pulled my shorts up. I just wanted to see the point in the rep at which my hamstring tension dissipated, which was right when I expected it to be, which is usually the point where I move my hands to catch myself on the ground. That's roughly the point that I feel my hamstrings losing a bit of tension. But yeah, the reverse Nordics definitely have improved as well. I wouldn't say they're 100% good in terms of range of motion. They can always improve. But there's definitely some improvement. Even here on the last set of the regular Nordics, I tried not to throw myself too far forward. Maybe that one was a little bit too fast. But I'm trying to find the right speed of execution where I can get maximum range, contract throughout the whole movement, or as much of it as I can. But it's a double-edged sword because you also want to target that fast contraction as well for that specificity when you're training for sports where you have to sprint and run and all of that stuff. And the rollouts felt okay, to be honest. Not great. Maybe it's because I've gone from twice a week to once a week. Excuse me. But I think the rollout is one that I'm going to have to be a little bit more creative with when finding progressions, because I want to eventually get to a standing rollout with a weighted vest, and it's going to be a really nice progression to the core exercise that I want to be doing later on, which is the dragon flag. But yeah, I might just start adding reps and see how I go. Side lunges, I increase the weight, decrease the reps today, which I will maintain leading into the next phase of the program. So the side lunge, like each exercise, the nature of the exercise dictates how you can progress it and how you can regress it. So for the side lunge, I'll stick with 8 kilos now, increase the reps slowly. As I get comfortable with a higher amount of reps, then I'll just increase it again. Whereas with the bigger lifts, like the Romanian deadlift, the split squat, I find that changing the weight and the reps every session helps. I don't know why, I just feel like that works for me. So And the other thing was doing supersets today, doing supersets for everything really is specific to where I want to take the program. Eventually, when I get to the peak phase of the training, that will be a program that is similar to what I was doing in 2018. And basically, nearly every exercise has a superset component and a contrast method of a heavy lift supersetted with a plyometric or power-based variation of that lift. So that's when I felt at my most explosive, my fastest, my strongest, and eventually I want to get there. But you can't just, in my opinion, you can't just go right to that if you've had a significant period of time off. You're just asking for trouble. So that's where I'm at the moment. A general preparation phase, getting ready for more specific, more intense sessions where the loads will be a lot higher, the speed of execution will be a lot higher, but the relevance and transfer over to my sport will be much higher as well. So that's where everything's going. Over the next couple videos, I'll probably post some screenshots of the spreadsheet on the screen as and when I finalize it, and even we can look at a website that I use to track my strength progress called symmetricstrength.com, which is, in my opinion, a really, really, really good website. Has some very interesting visual diagrams on it. You put in your data of your lifts, how strong you are, and it gives you a visual representation of the muscles on your body, and it color codes them based on how strong those muscle groups are. So it's very impressive. I look forward to doing a video on that and spending some time going through it. And it's really good because it gives you a visual representation of your progress. But anyway, that's all for today's session. Hope you enjoyed. If you've made it this far, hope you got some value out of it. And if you want to see more, feel free to subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one.